What's up, everybody? JC with Stoner Car Care. Today on the Science of, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going behind the scenes on developing a new product that you might be able to guess. So if you haven't guessed already, we are looking to expand our line of polishes and waxes and things like that. Specifically with this test, we're looking at creating a one-step that'll do basically a good job across the board if you're doing a quick cleanup of your clear coat and your paint. So what we're going to do is show you what we've had. Now this is already months of development in the bottle, I should say. And we're going to show you kind of some of the things we're evaluating with Rich here. We're going to pull him in and have him evaluate the first kind of partially formulated product. So we'll take this feedback and then continue to evaluate. But Rich, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so this can be a serious rabbit hole. There's a lot of variables at stake with making a polish like this. We got to, of course, pick the abrasives that we want to use, the amount of work time that we're looking to have out of the product. We want it to not be slinging all over the product to create extra mess, but we also want it to wipe clean without creating a dust for a lot of people to clean up. So, like I said, it's a heck of a rabbit hole to go down to try and dial these in perfectly. So we had a few months into it already to get to this point of version number 1. So today we're going to take you along the ride of testing it out, seeing what our feedback is. Honestly, we don't know if it's going to be great. We don't know if it's going to suck. So this is kind of how R&D goes. You go, you test it, you go back to the drawing board. So we're going to bring you along on that ride.
This testing marks the beginning of some of the real-world testing that we're doing. This actual process, as I mentioned, began months ago with an opportunity that Rich might have found, like we have a niche we can go after and really provide some customer value, and we think we need a product to help fill that gap. So that was an idea, months ago. The research and development team, our PhDs, will start cranking on kind of initial research. What things do we got to play with? What are the variables? What do we want to look at? And they'll do a lot of like in-lab testing, which provides great data, but isn't really what ultimately the customer is going to experience. We also have to always remember that the customer experience is happening on the car. So whether it's a detailing pro or somebody who's doing this on the weekends, the real lab is on a car. So that's kind of where we start getting more involved again in that process. And Rich is going to point out what we're looking at.
We are going to be priming the pad here with our polish. We have a Rupes rotary here. And we're going to be putting it on to the piano black trim on. And any detailer knows this is probably about the easiest part to polish a vehicle. It is. But it's going to show us a great 50-50. And also what's important is if you ever try to shoot this on camera, it's pretty hard to see on a silver car to remove the scratches and get the right lighting. So this is going to make it really easy for you guys back at home to be able to see that on camera and what we're talking about and the feedback we're seeing. Just a quick heads up on this polisher. Rupes makes great polishers, love all their tools. But I'm not sure what I did to this one. The speed control's broken. So if you hear me feathering the speed, it's because I got to keep my hand at exact pressure. It's not that I would think you should be feathering the speed on this, but hey, if it happens, I'm human. All right, so some first initial thoughts on what we're doing this. The pad's just getting primed, so I'll give it a pass on some of the sling that's happening, but it's not ideal if we can cut down this sling just to make the job a little bit easier, because as any detailer will tell you, you're gonna have this sometimes, but if you can try and minimize this as much as you can, it makes the job cleaning it up a lot easier. I don't know, you guys are OCD like I am back home, but like having all this on the excess of the car, it does a special thing to me on the inside. I feel like I need to wipe it every time. So we're going to clean that up, and we're just going to see what it looks like, the first initial results on this polish, on the piano black. And like I said, we're going for a one-step polish here, so we would hope this to be final finish right now. What we're looking for is to remove all the scratches and have a perfectly clear piece of trim that's like, looks like a piece of glass almost. So I'm just going to try and make sure there's a little bit of tape residue from running it over, so I'm going to do a little extra steps here, make sure it's perfectly clean. Have an inspection light here. Okay. Tell you what would be a beautiful thing is if the first time you came to market with something, or not come to market, but the first time you test something in R&D, it was absolutely perfect. But in the real world, that doesn't happen too often. So what happens with R&D is you take it out to the real world, you test it a bunch of times before you bring it to market, and you dial in the exact results you're looking for. Now with this one, like I said, we're looking for one step. Well, this isn't a perfect finish right now. It did remove the heavier scratches we were looking for. There's still some tape residue in these spots. You can see like right there. But I don't know if you can get this on camera, Brett, but there's spots that you can see where it's like rounded where the pad was. And there's like little fine marring through the paint. So it's cutting great to be able to remove the scratches. Like I'm sure you can probably see there's heavier scratches here and not up there. Let's pull some of that tape back. So definitely smoother. It removed out those heavier scratches that we're looking for, but it's not like a glass finish we're looking for like over here. It's not like super shiny. There's a dullness to it. And we're looking to remove that. We want this to be final finish down to an absolutely perfect finish there. So what this is telling me right now is the abrasives that we have in there, it's a little either too much abrasive or the wrong abrasive to get the final finish we're looking for. It's not breaking down enough. It did have good workability. Like I feel like I could work that and then not dry out and turn to dust. So we do like that. But if we can chase two attributes right now, it would be let's reduce that abrasiveness and let's try and see if we can make it maybe a little thicker, or I believe R&D has a term or some kind of shearing. JC, maybe you help me out with that. There's a shear thinning. So I'm sure they'll have their PhDs, they have a lot more knowledge on this than I will, but I'll tell them my feedback of, hey, less abrasive. Maybe if we can get it to stop slinging as much right on first contact without getting into the point where it's dusty. And that's gonna be our next step into making this one step closer to getting to you guys. All right, so now what we're gonna do, I'm going to just show you guys what it would look like, the final finish we are going for. We do have a polish and seal that's a really fine cut for like a final finishing that I'm gonna polish this off with just to show you kind of before what that one step looks like at the moment and then what a final would look like. So I'm just gonna put tape up, cover the spot. Of course, we haven't treated yet. And I'm probably gonna go like an inch or two here of the spot we have treated, and then I'm gonna final finish the top just to kind of get you guys an idea. As I know it's hard to see on camera how close and like what the end result we're looking for here. If you're a detailer, I'm sure you're screaming at the screen right now, like I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't waste your time, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't too familiar, so I'm gonna just walk through it so they know what we're talking about here. And why don't you take a moment now just to roast my tape job in the comments here. Don't give me your roll of tape. You might not get it back with too much tape on it, but hey, I'm erring on the side of caution here. So we got our polish and seal here. I'm just going to put this on the pad and we will final finish that. Now let's peel off the tape and kind of show you the before, the new product, final finish, and then what the end result we're trying to get to on a one step. So while we might have something that gets there in a two-step process, we're looking for ultimately a one step. So peel off this tape. Let me re-wipe this real quick. Got a tape line there. So hopefully you can see this is unpolished, untreated there. This is removing those heavier scratches with our R&D one right now. And as you get up here, there's really none. I mean, there might be some for me scrubbing with the microfiber to get that tape adhesive off there, but in the real world, you wouldn't tape it off like this, so it's a little bit easier. But you can see, there's like a slight haze to this. It's almost like a shade lighter than that deep dark that we're looking for. Brett, hopefully you can see that on camera. Now, to a general person with maybe not as keen of an eye, they're like, hey, that's good enough for me, but I mean, we strive for excellence around here, and that will never pass with a detailer. So go back to the drawing board. We'll get another iteration of this, make a couple adjustments, and see if we can't get to that final finish on one step.
So now you can see a little bit about what happens behind the scenes that we're doing normally when we're not making videos, is kind of testing and working on that next product coming out. But let us know what you think about seeing that glimpse. What products do you like? What benchmarks should we use? What variables are you considering when you're looking at a one step. These are new things that we can access by doing these videos. We can get that feedback very quickly from a much wider audience. So let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.